Hello and welcome back. Or if you're watching us for the first time, I'm Ivan, and together with my wife Ivana, we're doing a 4-month-long trip along the east coast of Australia in a caravan, trying to do as much freediving, spearfishing, and general adventuring as we can. But we're also working full-time, so most of the adventuring is actually left for the weekends. If you haven't seen previous episodes, the link to the playlist is in the description below. So, moving on from Sunshine Coast, our next stop was 1770. It's a beautiful little town with a weird name that's famous for its fishing. Unfortunately, we only spent one night here, so the only thing we caught was this beautiful sunrise. From there, we moved towards Yeppoon, or more accurately, Emu Park, which is just a few kilometers south from Yeppoon. We stayed there for 4 full weeks. This is because we were getting into tropics and we were expecting better weather and more diving, and so we booked our stay for 4 full weeks. Things didn't quite play out as we expected, but I'll get back to that later. So this is in tropics, but the temperatures were still, in my view, not really tropical. The nights were maybe below 15 degrees most of the time, and days were in the low 20s. And although people have been telling us, we've never had this cold weather before, I just stopped believing that, because they tell us that everywhere we go. Everybody's got warmer weather than it is when we're there, so whatever. Yeppoon is most famous for its pineapples. There are pineapple farms everywhere, and there are signs along the road which say pines for sale. And when we first saw that, it just wasn't making any sense. We were thinking, it's not even Christmas. Like pines? We were thinking, pine trees. Of course, it's just a short version of pineapple, because, in Australia, you have to shorten everything that's longer than 4 characters. So, pineapples are really tasty. They actually get ripe here, as opposed to the ones that you can get further down south, which are often green, and then they're never as sweet. Other than that, Yeppoon is famous for Keppel Islands, which is a small archipelago just off Yeppoon, and it is quite pretty. So in those 4 weeks, the weather was fairly cold, so the beautiful long sandy beach in Emu Park was much more enjoyed by Bella the dog than Ivana and me, so no swimming yet. And although it was amazing to be able to just walk on that beach, and the whole area is quite pretty, there isn't really all that much to do. It's a fairly small town, and I guess because of COVID as well, much fewer people, so the options were fairly limited, I guess, compared to some other places we've been. That said, we found a local Spearo called Scott. Thank you, Scott, for taking us out to Byfield. Byfield is a national park about 2 hours north from Yeppoon, and it requires a 4-wheel drive. It's like a sandy track that goes to a beautiful headland called 5 Rocks. And here we had our first taste of Queensland spearfishing, which, according to Scott, wasn't all that great because the visibility wasn't nearly as good as it can be, and there was quite a bit of wind. But even with all that, we saw a ton of fish we'd never seen before. We're still trying to identify all of those, and Scott got a cod and a crayfish, and I got my first painted cray as well. Aside from 5 Rocks, we did manage to get in the water at Keppel Islands. We did a 1-day sort of cruise, which was taking us to the island. It was sailing around, and then part of it was snorkeling. Unfortunately, most of the people on the trip were very much not interested in snorkeling, or were we got in the water, everybody was on pool noodles, and within 15 minutes everybody wanted out, so we didn't get to see as much as we hoped. But it's a really nice reef just next to, I think this was on the Great Keppel Island, the biggest one in the archipelago, and that was in a green zone, so it was completely protected. There was a ton of fish there as well, and it was really pretty to see. Hey, if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment of what else you'd like to see. As I said, not all that much to do around, but there are some beautiful walks like this Turtle Point lookout where you can actually see turtles in the ocean if you look closely enough. Ivana really loved Yeppoon as well. She says it's a hidden gem, and it is a really nice, sort of very laid-back place. There's just so few people, and it just looks really nice. We also visited Rockhampton, which is about 45 minutes west inland, and is kind of like the biggest regional center, where we also visited the Aboriginal Cultural Center, which was quite interesting, and we got to throw some returning boomerangs. In the next episode, we're going to Airlie Beach, which is another area famous for its nearby archipelago with Sundays. And a sneak peek, we actually did get to do a little bit more diving and spearfishing there. Make sure to like and subscribe, and have fun. Until next time.